address a critical issue in Uganda. And that is, of course, for the medical interns. I understand you have already read that topic down there on the screens. But it has been a very big issue here in the country of these medical interns for their internships in these respective hospitals or wherever they can go for this particular segment of the education, but also their career. So it has been an issue, and over the years we've seen people go on strike, we have seen those holding placards on streets and things like that. But where are we heading with this? Now this year it has become quite critical because we have had a segment of them who have not been deployed and some of them are already deployed. What is the fate for those who are not deployed for their internship is what we're going to be discussing here. And of course with me is someone who is also in that category, who is Dr. Ainembabazi Derrick, and you are unemployed, undeployed.
Yes, I'm unemployed, undeployed, unemployable, undeployable. Many factors.
Yes. So he is my guest here, and I would love you to greet our people out there.
Okay.
Before we start the discussion.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Derrick Ainembabazi. I'm one of the 1,000 plus undeployed but eligible medical interns in the country. Just completed university at Makerere University recently in April. So the issue at hand, like he had mentioned before, is undeployed medical interns. So how did it start? Earlier this year, that was in April, we finished our exams, medical exams, and they released results, and everyone passed. So normally you have like a 2 months break before they deploy for internship. So we did the papers in April, finished, everything came out. Then the ministry under its other organizations, there is a UMDPC, the council that runs us, told us to go and apply for internship. So all the students applied, over 2,000 internships. And they told us during our orientation, which was held I think 2 months later, that whoever applied for internship is going to be deployed. So we waited for the lists to come out, like 1 day later. And then the lists came out, and only 1,200-ish students had been deployed. Majority from private universities, and some universities were not completely represented at all by then. So, of course, we couldn't keep quiet about it, reason being they didn't deploy over 1,900 students by then. And the number of students that deployed were less than what they had deployed the year before. So yes, we took it to the streets. We tried dialogue, but dialogue normally doesn't work in the country, so we took it to the streets. A colleague of ours was arrested. I think it was on the news that time. Then we marched to the ministry. They also intercepted us. They refused to listen to our views. But our question was simple. There were many slots that were left, and we were asking why. So the ministry said they had made a mistake. Yeah, they had not realized that they had enough slots. So they went back to the drawing board, sat down, rectified their mistakes, and still deployed fewer interns than they had deployed the previous year. So that is where we are. Now it has come to like 3 to 4 months of doing nothing, no communication from the ministry. The only message they send is that we shall deploy you when the time comes, and they don't give a time frame for that. So we are just hanging in the balance. We are just there.
So what are the reasons the ministry is giving?
So the ministry had many reasons as to why they said they cannot deploy us. They said many reasons. First, they said they don't have money. They said they require, I think it was 18.7 billion to deploy the remaining interns. And I think Parliament sat, they told the ministry to look for that money or deploy the interns as they look for that money. They kept quiet about that. They didn't revert to us. Then they gave other reasons of, we don't have enough training sites for these interns. But the ministry itself, during orientation, they told us they had created more sites, more internship sites than the previous sites, from 58 to, I think the figure was 73. So they told us they had created more sites. Then after they said, okay, we don't have enough sites. Then they said we don't have enough specialists to train these interns. But then the doctors themselves said this has never been a problem. The doctors are there, ready to train the interns. Then the ministry also said in the previous year they deployed many interns and they were overcrowding hospitals. Now that was very laughable. That was a very funny statement to make. Yes. They said the doctors were overcrowding the hospitals. I think that was a tweet by either the Ministry of Health or Dr. Acheng herself. It's overcrowding the hospitals. But then when you interact with doctors at the hospitals, let's say Iganga, Gulu, or even Mulago or Kawempe, everyone tells you there are very few doctors to work on these patients. So we ask ourselves, so who is telling the truth? The people on ground or the ministry? So that is the thing. You don't understand what is going on, but yeah, that's what they said. Yeah.
Oh. Can we talk about the remarks from the president?
Yeah, and then all our hope was left in the president, because you know how things run in Uganda. There's a way the president has the final say in everything. So we wrote letters, we pushed our agenda on Twitter everywhere, tagged him, his accounts, what we met people, ministers, MPs, and we waited for what the president would say. We thought he would have our back, because normally he says, promises people to do science courses, go and study sciences, what. Then I think the president was in that chankwazi thing that they always have, training doctors and stuff. He was like, he made a statement where he emphasized that those who want to go for internship can fund themselves for a year. Fund themselves for a year. Then that was totally out of context. So like, that was very unbelievable. It was a shock actually. It was like the final nail to the coffin. Everyone was like, people were actually shocked. People were like, why? And I think that's what led to the uprising. Most doctors, fellow doctors now, are standing up for our cause, who were quiet before, the big doctors, because that's totally unfair to the profession itself and to the intern. Because in Uganda, the way things run at the hospital is that the interns are like the bedrock of the medical services you receive at all government hospitals. Yes, because they are the ones who are available 24/7. If you went to Mulago, if you got an admission anywhere, be it Mbarara, Gulu Hospital, the very first person to see you is going to be an intern doctor, and the person who is going to see you through your entire stay is an intern doctor. So that's the person going to offer you a service for as long as you're there. People work 36-hour shifts. People actually, the ones they deployed, the few they deployed have been complaining that nowadays they work in 96-hour shifts because they are few and they have to cover everywhere. So someone working 36 hours for free for a full year, that's the part where the president lied a bit. Wow. Yeah.
So what do these remarks mean to the profession itself?
Well, to the profession itself, okay, to the little boys there who are still doing BCM and hope to do medicine, this is like a big blow to their hopes, because the profession is dying slowly in the country. That is the truth. The government, of course, no longer cares, and there is not so much to look up to these days in the medical profession in Uganda.
Do you think it is because the numbers are increasing?
Yeah, that's a very big point. The numbers are increasing, and the numbers can be gatekept, or they can be held at the beginning of internship. But we've had a burst of many private universities teaching medicine, which is okay. I'm not against that. I believe that we need more doctors in this country. But they increase the universities teaching medicine, but they don't increase the facilities to teach these people medicine. So the numbers are increasing, and it's so astronomical. You see, in public universities, there are cutoffs, and not everyone goes to do medicine. Like if you go to Makerere University, it admitted 80 students this previous intake. And Makerere, to do medicine. And Makerere has all the teaching facilities, all the doctors to teach medicine. If you go to like Mbarara, it admitted, they admit 100 to 120 only. They also have a teaching hospital. If you go to Gulu, same thing, 100 students. So they try to keep. But then there are these new universities that are accredited and allowed to teach medicine, the private universities. And these ones are there for money. It's not about the cost. Most of them actually do not have teaching hospitals, because for you to teach medicine, you require a teaching hospital, stuff like that. But most of them do not have those facilities or the doctors. But they admit the most. We do not know why. If they restrict public universities from admitting students, then why can't they restrict these private universities from admitting students? Do you understand? Yeah. So the numbers are increasing, and it's from there. And there's nothing we can do about it. It's the people in the National Council of Higher Education who have to restrict those numbers. Because refusing to take in this current group of interns, the 1,111 of us, will not solve the problem. The interns that are going to come after us are going to be more.
Yes.
You understand? So by making us sit home for a year and we wait, we're going to be a bigger number than what is there already. And we know they won't take us in all. You get it?
Wow.
Yes.
So what are the 4 months like? The 4 months that you
the 4 months that we've been sitting up. Yeah, normally the lifestyle of a medical student, you wake up at 6 a.m., 5 a.m., read, and maybe go to work. But these 4 months, you wake up like at 10 a.m., think about life. Think about why you chose this path. And then you go back to bed a bit, then you wake up. If you're lucky that you went back home, there's breakfast for you and all that stuff. If you were like the hope of your village, people sent you from like Kanungu to come to Kampala and do medicine and provide for them, it's very bad. People, most of them are depressed. Most students have gone back to the villages actually, because there is nothing they can do about it. There is no timeline that we are going to deploy you at such and such a time. So you cannot choose to, let's say, apply for this job and be doing it, because what if I apply for a job there and then after 1 month the ministry is like, oh, you come and work. Do you understand? So people are just in suspense. You don't have a practicing license, so you can't even practice the little skills that you got from medical school. The best thing that you can do is maybe volunteer, and then they use you, and so it is a very sad part for most of the students out there. And that's why most people are quiet. They don't believe what's happening. People are still in shock. And then when the president said that, it was a New Vision headline, it even created more shock, so more depression. So the 4 months are just that. You wake up, look at yourself in the mirror and wonder why you chose this path. You understand? And this is supposed to be our passion or something like that. So yeah.
Wow. Can we talk about, you say there's no much communication from the Ministry of Health.
Yeah.
How about the well-being of these people? Doesn't the Ministry of Health think about it? Have they not made interventions to come and talk to you?
At this point, I don't think they actually think about it. Because, like I told you, we were blocked. We couldn't access the ministry the first time we went there. They told us not to enter. There was a lot of police deployed, and then they brought the Kabangali, I think, to carry us away after. So the issue of dialogue, trying to talk to them and see what's going on, it is not there. There's a complete cutoff. They will only talk to us when they want to. You get it? So we don't know what's happening. You can tag them in there in your tweets on Twitter. They will not see those things. Or they just see and ignore and they move on. So there is no direct communication from the ministry, which really beats my understanding, because most of these people are doctors and they have been intern doctors before, and some of them actually led riots in their time about these same issues. But it's like when they got there, everything changes. It's now everyone for himself and God for us all.
That's quite disturbing. So what are the interventions being made by UMA itself? How is UMA engaging these ministries? Because I understand it is not actually even the Ministry of Health concerned. Even the Ministry of Finance could come in there, and maybe even the Ministry of Education.
Yeah, there are many bodies that work together to see that this happens. So now UMA has actually been there for us, the president, the secretary, and all that stuff. They have been helping us in ways. They are leading. They are pushing us to lead this riot. Let me not call it a riot, but the protests. And they've also been vocal about it on their platforms. And I think the president, they are still thinking about a sit-down strike. The entire all doctors in the country, they are still thinking about it, because like it's the only way to go. If you punish these junior doctors when they are still on the ground, like what are you doing to the future of medicine in this country? So yeah, the UMA leadership has been there for us currently. Yeah. Yes.
So how do we hope to see this strike or demonstration?
I don't know if it happened. They said it's still in the plans. It's something they are cooking. I don't know if it will happen or not happen, because it also involves a lot of stakeholders. Like you could imagine Mulago with no doctors for like a few days. That's a very big thing. But yeah, so the UMA is still having the dialogue, I think, with the ministry and the concerned bodies to see how this can work and how people can be deployed as soon as possible. Yeah, but that's taking time. It's taking a lot of time.
So UMA is engaging government?
UMA is engaging. That's what we get from them. They are engaging all the necessary stakeholders and to see that we are deployed in time. And they are at the forefront of this. They always call us for their conferences and stuff. If we need support, can run to the president himself. He offers to help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is the solution to fast sit for a year, or there is hope?
The solution that the ministry gave was to fast sit for a year.
For a year?
For a year.
Wow.
And that's what we're against, a full year.
And that is, I think, a challenge to them themselves as well.
Yes, sit for a full year.
There are other people who are going to...
The other people are about to finish in, I told you, these private universities have very many cohorts. So it's like they graduate like twice a year. So there will be people who finish in the middle of this year, and they add on to this. Then there are people who will finish like in November, December, they add on to this. Then there are people, of course, now like from the public universities who will finish next year, then they add on to this. So if the figure is like 1,000 now, by the time we reach August next year, it will be like 4,000 and something. And they can't take that in, honestly speaking.
It's quite challenging. Well, maybe we talk about the engagements you now as the undeployed. What engagements have you made so far with maybe any concerns stakeholders? But is there also a way of maybe you as an individual going to a private hospital maybe for a internship sort of?
The ministry refused that. So the thing
it is the ministry that has
the thing with the internship is that you're working but under supervision of the ministry. So if a ministry does not have a doctor in a private facility, you cannot work there. Because in the end, they have to give you a license that satisfies you to be a practicing doctor in Uganda. And most of those doctors that work with the ministry are in these public institutions. So that's why we can only be in public institutions or the PFM, the profit for non-profits, because that's where the ministry works and that's where the doctors are. So most parents actually were coming up with the thing of, can't our kids go to private hospitals and work for a year? And then, so the ministry is like, no. Internship is under the ministry. So this is under the jurisdiction of the ministry, everything that will happen.
Then what interventions have you made?
As us.
Yes, as
See,
you.
Where we stand as the undeployed interns, we can only talk, we can only protest, we can only march to the ministry, we can only engage stakeholders. We have engaged many MPs because their numbers are online. You text them, and normally in their sittings they talk about this issue. I think Honorable Taiwa talked about it 3 weeks back. Yes, he did. And he also asked the ministry, like, why does this keep coming up every year? What is the problem? Yeah, but then they told the ministry said that they need funds. Then he told them, okay, if it is an issue of funding, let the people go for internship as we get the funding. That was like 3 weeks back. Nothing has ever been done. So for us, we can only engage the stakeholders. We can text the MPs, we can march to parliament, we can do this and this. We don't have much power in this. Yes, just our voices to be heard. And that's what we're doing every day. Hopefully not for a year.
We really hope so.
Yeah.
So let's now continue to what should you hope? What do you want to be done?
We want to go for internship. We want to be deployed for internship.
There are no funds.
Yeah, that's what, but we want to go for internship. Like, there is nothing we ask for. We were not asking for a lot. We just want to go and help our colleagues who are there, suffering already, because the slots are there. So we want the ministry to get that necessary funding. It can be passed in the supplementary budget and all that stuff. And the ministry can actually deploy. I do not know why they are not deploying us. They can deploy us as they get that funding. They can't do that. So we want the ministry to listen to us, or offer space for dialogue with them, like what is happening. We don't know what is going on. We don't know what's going on. Are they even still planning about us, or they have already moved on? They could have moved on already. And it's us making noise every day. So yeah. And then also the UMA leadership, we thank them for what they are doing, and we want them to continue doing that until our voices are heard. And the big doctors in the country, there are very many big doctors in the country who can have a say on this. We also want them to put their voices out. Most of them are quiet, uncomfortable, like I said. So the fight is ours, and ours alone at the moment. So we want those big doctors to have a say for us, to say something. But most of them are quiet and all that stuff. And the ministry to tell us what is going on and how far.
Why do you think the government is not prioritizing health?
That is a very big question to ask. I don't know if I can answer it properly, because if you think about it, the health sector is one of those that should be prioritized in this country. Yes? But it's like every year when they pass the budget and all that stuff, they cut the health budget. You do not understand why. I think it's maybe an issue of that we are not so vocal about it, because most doctors just want to go to the hospital and work. They are not so involved in politics. Even when this issue came up, one of our biggest challenges was someone who can speak for us. Okay. You understand? Like we don't have so many people like in the parliament who can air out these views. When you talk about interns being paid, most people, the public asks you like, why should an intern be paid? I thought this is supposed to be free work. People do not understand that an intern is a doctor, not a student. So we don't have enough voices in the parliament or in those big offices to help talk on our behalf. And that is why it becomes a problem every year that passes.
Okay. So what impact does the undeployment of intern doctors bring to the health sector?
It cripples the health sector, which was already crippling. Yeah, because if a hospital like Kawempe that was receiving, let's say, 50 interns, receives 20, you'll just know there's a problem there. There's a very big gap.
Sure.
Because even the ones that they were deploying are not enough. So now what if they reduce that? So the entire health sector is crippled, and there's nothing we can do about it. These things do not affect most of the big people in government, so I think that's why they do not see it, because if they get sick, they can be flown out. But the one who will run to these public hospitals for help is the one who is affected the most, because you will reach the casualty department of your hospital and there's no doctor to see you. And that's when you will know that this issue is actually big. You get it? Yes. So the health sector is crippled. With each day that passes, it's being crippled slowly by slowly. Yeah.
Can we understand the contribution you give to mostly a health facility? If there are intern doctors, what kind of work do they do?
So the intern
how
doctors...
how much is that work?
How much is the work? That's a very good question. So let us say I was deployed at Mulago Casualty Department. The intern doctors, like I told you, they run that facility for the entire 24 hours. There is always at least 2 or 3 intern doctors at any particular time. You understand? So the first contact that a patient gets with a doctor is by an intern doctor. You get it? So he's the one who will see you, talk to you, and see what your problem is, and they can advise you on where to go, what to do next. You understand? Then these senior doctors will come in when the intern doctor has done most of that hard work. They come in, they do, maybe if it's a very difficult surgery, they do it with the intern doctor again, as he learns now. And then after the doctor goes back home, then another intern doctor comes in to see the patient until they become better and they go home. So they run the entire facility, keeping of records, scheduling the patients for surgery, doing the ward rounds sometimes when these other big doctors are not around. And in some other facilities also teaching the students, because you know there are students who come through from universities to learn, and all the hospital staff, keeping the records and stuff. Yes.
Wow. Big contribution it is indeed there. The discussion is still going on. I think we are kind of understanding what this really means and the contributions these people have to the sector, and of course the impact that is felt when they are not there. So it is a very big call to the Ministry of Health, really, because the more you pile them, the more challenging it will be in future. I don't know if the interventions the ministry has or the government has in future there, but we feel if we continue piling them up, there will be many, and of course the challenges will not differ. It will be, of course, the same excuse, the same issues will be coming up of we have a few medical facilities, we have less money, things like that, because the numbers will have failed. Anyway, we're going for a very short break and return with more of this.
Issues at hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.
Family TV, enriching lives. Issues at hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.
Oh yes, comfort and luxury at its best. That is at Protea Hotel by Marriott in Entebbe. Please do find yourself there. They have wonderful services, by the way. So contact the numbers below the screen there, and then reach out to Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe for perfect hotel services. Well, we are still talking about medical interns, of course, addressing the crisis of the undeployed medical interns. You understand what is happening in the country. I understand, or I can really tell that it is something very common right now. Everyone must be knowing about it. So, and for those who do not know, some medical interns were deployed and others have remained undeployed for now 4 months, just like Dr. Derrick here is telling us. And of course, this is not something usual, because first of all, it distracts their minds, their mental health, and even their morale of working. So, but that is the discussion we are in. And of course, right now I want him to tell us about the long-term effects. What are the possible long-term effects the careers of medical interns or medical doctors like you could face, more knowing that you are now on 4 months seated without practicing anything?
Oh, okay. Welcome back. The very first thing is depression, which is so obvious, and it comes with time and increases, and how someone manages it, that is up to them. But then, see, medicine is a field that requires you to be practicing constantly so that that knowledge doesn't decay, and you keep updating yourself about the new inventions and what's happening in the medical world. So subjecting a young doctor in his strongest years, his youthful years, to a full year of doing nothing creates that decay. And it affects the quality of health care that everyone receives in the end, the patients, and everyone else. And it affects the quality of the doctor that someone becomes. I saw a tweet recently from, I think it was Dr. Ori Badan, a physician at Lacho Hospital in Gulu, and he said the interns he received this year, okay, let's say, he didn't say they were the worst, but he said they do not know things anymore, and he has to teach them like he's teaching third-year students. That is a very bad thing.
Very bad.
It's a very bad thing. And you want to blame the interns themselves, but you cannot. These people have been at home for a full year. And most of them do not do the medical things, because if you don't have a license, and you don't have a practicing license or anything to show that you're a doctor, no hospital can allow you to touch their patients. Even you don't want me to touch you when you don't have that license. That is a fact. So people sit home for a year, and human nature is you have to survive. You have to find ways of surviving. And mostly, the way you survive will not be medical related. So you go into other things to look for money and survive and all that stuff. And your knowledge decays. So after that full year, when you go back to the hospital, you're like a year 3 student. You're looking at a patient and you're like, okay, what is this? And then the senior doctors face that. Most are complaining, but quietly. They should put their voices out there so that people know what is happening. So that decay is a very big thing in the medical field. For me as a doctor, for you as a patient, you will not get those services that you would have gotten if I was just fresh from school, rested for maybe 1 month, bam, I'm into the system. Yeah. Then long term, as of course you progress, with these things that keep happening in the health sector in Uganda, people keep losing interest. I think it was our dean that told us that she doesn't know why most of the students that do medicine at Makerere University end up not practicing. I think I've done a research about it, that more than the students, the one you call the creme de la creme, the one who were the best in their times, after completing medicine, they end up doing other things. They branch off, or if they practice not in this country, they go away. That's the long-term effects of things like this. Once you keep oppressing people in a field they love, they have to go somewhere else. You understand? So Uganda, in the end, eventually loses out to good physicians or doctors or surgeons or what, because even us, we are people, we have to survive. If this fails, you go somewhere else. So that's what happens.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you talk about the role of these medical schools or universities in terms of deployment? Or for them, it is just graduating, then they
Oh yeah, when the medical school assesses you, teaches you, and you finish your exams, they let you go. The rest is not theirs.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. They have not they don't have a very big say in this. Their role is just to submit lists. That these are the students who qualified to do internship this year. So they submit those lists to the ministry. That's their role. That's where they stop. And because our dean, I think, was fighting for us, but there's nothing much she could do, honestly. She knows the big people what to do, but this is not their part. Their part is to teach, and they do that very well, I think. Yeah.
Have we had any feedback from hospitals, maybe complaining about this year we have received few medical interns?
At the moment the lists were out, not the hospitals per se, of course hospitals can't start, but the people who work within the hospitals.
Oh, yes.
The moment the lists came out, Iganga Hospital was complaining. People at Gulu Hospital were complaining. They were like, this can't be like, if you received like 40 interns now, you're giving us 8. There was a doctor who actually went on ward. She works at Mbara Hospital, the physician, I've forgotten her name. She just went on Twitter and started ranting. She was like, I have 4 interns that have to run these wards 24/7. You know, like internal medicine is a department that has many sub-departments. It could be neurology, cardiology, rheumatology, what, like all those things have to have a doctor. They're like 8 departments under. So they gave her 4 students to run all those departments at once, because there has to be a doctor at any one point. So she actually tagged the ministry. She was the very first doctor I saw coming out to cry for help, and that was very good. So that's what we're talking about. Then people keep coming up all the time. You hear the stories. Hoima is complaining. They're like, I don't know what the ministry was thinking this time, but of course, there's this thing of you can't attack your employer, so they attack as they're pulling back a bit. You know, it's quite difficult for them, I understand, but they should keep doing that, pushing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we talk, it is not the first time we're having scenarios like this.
No, it's not the first time.
It is not the first time. So, what do you think should be the immediate actions to be taken so that we do not have these recurring every year?
So, the ultimate solution to all of this, to stop this mess of, the ministry calls it backlog, many students, is you have to regulate at entry. There have been talks of putting up a pre-internship exam, then a post-internship exam, like those who pass the pre-internship exam, go for internship. But you can give that exam and those students will pass, then what do?
Yeah.
You won't do anything. You'll have to deploy them.
Sure.
Yeah. And by the time someone finishes medical school, they have passed all their exams for 5 years, some even 6 years. So more exams do not solve anything, or that's what most doctors think. The thing is, you have to regulate at entry. If Makere is admitting 100, Mbara 100, Gulu 100, why should another university admit 400?
Private.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense at all. And why are they admitting 400 twice in a year? That still doesn't make sense. And when they admit these students, who is going to teach them? So regulate at entry. If you know we do not have enough teaching facilities for medical doctors in the country, which is a fact, they don't have enough teaching facilities, why are you admitting more students who will teach them? And when they finish being taught, however where they are taught, where will they work? Because the same teaching facilities work as hospitals for them to work. So if you do not regulate at entry, if every year you accredit like a university to teach medicine, every year there are so many. Some I also discovered when this list came out. I was like, okay, this is nice. With this university phone, you're like, wow, interesting. It's like, there are so many. I think there are currently like 13 universities teaching medicine, which should be good because the country needs doctors. But where are you going to put them after? So like when you're accrediting these universities, there should be a plan for after. And the ministry, as I have to say, they have failed at that part. And whenever we ask that question, they tell us we are not the ones responsible for accrediting these universities. They tell us you go to National Council for Higher Education, they're the ones who accredit it. But don't these bodies work together? That is a question you ask. And they all government bodies. Like, why would they accredit more universities for you and create more problems for you and you don't say anything about it? You understand? So that's where the problems begin. So many students come in year one, and it's not their fault. And the other problem I have with the internship exam is that if someone studies for 5 years and then you give them a paper to do after those 5 years, and let's say they fail it, so you're going to tell them, no, you cannot be a doctor after 5 years. That is very painful. You would rather tell me from the beginning that, okay, you cannot be a doctor when I'm still like 17, 19, and I still have energy. Then I go and do other things, but you don't let me go through the system and then you hold me at the top. That is what the ministry is doing. That's what they want to do with their pre-internship exams, post-internship exams. That means it cannot clear anything. They should halt those things in the beginning. You understand? Yeah. That is the only way they can reduce the numbers.
So do you think it is really a problem of finances, or it is just a matter of prioritizing?
Prioritizing, yeah, they failed to prioritize. That's for the government as well. And then, yeah, finances, of course, come in, but it's a problem of planning with the ministry. Me, I always shoot at the ministry because they're responsible for all of this. It is a problem of planning for the ministry because internship is for 1 year, and during that 1 year, you know how many interns you're going to get. These people made us sit in an orientation, and they told us all 2,500 of you are going. All of you are going. I've forgotten his name, but that's what he said. He was like, as long as you apply, you are going. Everyone was happy. I said, well, when are the lists coming out? Today evening. They came out later that evening. And they are not even picked more than half.
Wow.
Yeah. So like, and then we approached them later. They're like, we didn't know you were this many. Like, what do you mean you didn't know we were this many? We applied for those licenses and waited for more than a month. So they didn't see that during that period to tell us that, okay, you guys, I think you're many, some of you might not go. They didn't say anything. Very quiet. They waited for the final. They were like, yeah. So they don't actually value us, as you can see. That's the thing. Yeah.
What role can the public play in this regard? How can the public intervene?
The public has, when the public listens to our cries, they have to amplify them. Yeah, because what affects us directly, indirectly affects you. If I am not deployed and I do not work for yes, I might rot, I might decay, but I'll be deployed later. They will still deploy me. But during that 1 year period, when you become sick and you go to that hospital to get help or medication, and the bigger percentage of the public cannot afford private medication because it is very expensive. I don't think I can afford it. So this indirectly affects the public, is that when you go to that health facility to deliver, there might not be a doctor to help you. And that does not affect the ministry or any government official. It affects you. You'll be sick and no one will see you or will want to see you. So you understand. So this thing directly affects them in a way. So they have to amplify our cries, and maybe the government will listen then if the public amplifies our cries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you maybe again re-echo the kind of situation it is like for the undeployed?
For the undeployed,
yes.
It is very tough. In Uganda, I would say chikwafu. Like you just wake up and there's not so much to do. Yeah. You wake up expecting to hear from the ministry. Okay, maybe the ministry is going to say something today. Nothing. They don't say anything. You wake up and you hope that maybe the president will intervene. He intervenes and then it just goes far back. So there is nothing much you can do. You just wake up and most of us, it's like everyone had hopes in you. I told you there are some people who came from the village and the entire village sent them to Kampala to study medicine and change where they came from. Now, people are just home and they don't know what to do. So depression, sadness, anger, frustration, all those things combined, that is what is going on. You're not employed, you're not employable. Yeah, because you cannot tell anyone I did medicine. They'll ask you, where are your papers? And you just look at them. Okay, like, where is your license? So that then you just look at them. So that's the frustration, is that most people, they have this knowledge, but they can't apply it. Yeah. So you will just sit home and you watch things going for most of the time.
Wow. So what challenges are you facing currently?
The challenges facing currently, there are very many, but financial challenges are the most. And because unless you went back home to stay with your parents and they welcomed you, but away from that, most people are depressed. Depression is the biggest challenge. I don't know why no one talks about it. There's that depression for mostly we call them direct entrants, the one who just came from, you can imagine someone coming from high school as the best student. They had their 20 points. They got government sponsorship. They did medicine for 5 years. Then after the government let them go. That is a very different breed of depression. Like, you can't even explain it to anyone. That is the biggest challenge, the depression. And then there's a very big setback because people plan for their time and their years. So if you had planned that by August next year, I would have finished and become a doctor or maybe pursue a master or go and work somewhere. So that plan has been distorted now. you have to wait for, we don't know when. You just have to wait and sit there. So you can't do anything about your life. You just sit and wait on someone to do something, and they're not doing it. So yeah, that's the biggest challenge: depression, and of course financial challenges and all that stuff. Yeah.
So what steps are you looking forward to embark on
As
the undeployed?
As the undeployed interns, we shall keep engaging the ministry, even though they do not want to listen to us. We shall tag them on all social media platforms. We shall go to the ministry. They will chase us back, but we shall go. We shall engage the media, of course, various media houses, put our cry out there. We shall engage the senior doctors, and we tell them how bad the situation is. Most of them were here before us. They know what we're going through. So it should be easy for them to be vocal on our behalf. And if everything refuses, of course, we have to go to court. Yeah.
Wow. As we wind up, I see time has started getting us off. Can you please make a call to the ministry, or to government specifically?
Yeah, this is a call to the Ministry of Health and the government, all those MPs that sit in that parliament, 500 and plus, eating fat salaries, is that the people you push to do these science courses, you have forgotten about them, and you do not want to discuss the issues that are affecting them, which issues eventually affect the people you represent in your different constituencies. So the more you keep quiet about this, the more it grows and the worse it becomes. The call is to the entire government to listen to our cries and pass that supplementary budget that they said they were going to pass, 18.7 billion. To the ministry, it is to deploy us as soon as possible. It could even be tomorrow. The earlier the better. That is it.
So the supplementary budget was given a timeline, or
that's the thing we don't know. They just mentioned it and they're like, okay. So we do not know.
There's no date to that?
No date.
It's quite challenging,
yeah,
and disturbing. Well, I think we have much exhausted our time, and I'd love you to give us last remarks in regards to the discussion of today, but also maybe a message to your fellow undeployed medical intern doctors.
Okay, yeah, thank you for the show. And a last message to the undeployed interns, the ones who were eligible and didn't get deployed, is that you don't give up. We shall keep fighting until the last breath of it, until we get this deployment that we so badly need. So you don't give up. Use your platforms how you can. If you went back to the village and you can't engage with this march to Ministry of Health or march to Parliament, you can tweet about it, post about it on social media, engage those MPs in your constituency, tell them how bad it is, and talk to your senior doctors, the ones who taught you, tell them how bad it is, and tell them to add a voice to what you're already saying. Then I think we shall persevere, we shall prevail with time. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. But there is hope.
It's very hard to say, but there is hope. There is hope. There should be hope. For as long as we're alive, there is hope.
There is hope indeed.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. Is Dr. Derrick Ainembabazi, who is a part of those that are undeployed here in Uganda. Of course, 4 months now.
Yes.
4 months now, as their fellows were deployed to go into the practicing world of it. So it is a quite a big challenge here in the country. Yes, we've seen so many people coming up to speak about it and how it has affected them, even depending on the discussions we've had here with Dr. Derrick. You can see the moral and mental health he has been talking about. He's talking about like their fellows are in a state that is not really admirable. So it is a call out there, and of course we also add a voice. It is not good to go for something and then you leave it at halfway. And so we really appeal to the Ministry of Health and of course the concerned government arms, so you can say the Ministry of Health, Finance and Education, to kindly find an urgent solution so these doctors can go on to practice what they were told to do. And also, by the way, a big call is at the entry, just like he said, it is not good to keep paying them. I'll repeat this. So if we can have the entry level packaged very well, maybe put an amount, a limited amount for every institution, then we shall not be having challenges of saying finance is not enough because this year the medical interns have become so many, or because this year we have fewer facilities to have them do their internship. So I think it all goes back to the regulatory bodies who can help us in this regard. Well, we cannot go past this. I want to appreciate you for joining us, but also Dr. Derrick, thank you for coming through to shed light to this discussion. My name is Luke Majumba Naitwe, and Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe has been gearing this discussion. Have a lovely day ahead, but please stay on for more programs.
Issues at Hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe.